Hello everyone, this is Manjula Devi P, working as Assistant Professor in GFGC Kanakpura. In this session, I want to discuss about Environment Appraisal in Strategic Management. It is there as a syllabus in BBA 6th semester, Bangalore University. And Environment Appraisal is in Unit 2. So first of all, you need to know what is environment, what is business environment, and what is the appraisal of the environment. Okay, because a business unit has to live in a surrounding, and being a business unit surrounded by so many factors, it is very important to know the surrounding, the dynamics of it, the changes that is happening, and formulate the strategies according to the changes, isn't it? So all those things are there as discussion in this unit. Let's see the very basic meaning of what is environment, what is business environment, and what is the meaning of environment appraisal. Okay. Yeah. Meaning of environment, general meaning. When anybody asks you what is environment, the simple answer could be the surrounding. Anything which is surrounding us is environment. And we are of course surrounded by so many living and non-living things, isn't it? So anyway, this definition of environment you would have studied in your 4th standard. What is environment, isn't it? So they have EVS, I think, from the 1st standard. So you would have already got an idea about what is environment, isn't it? So all the biotic and abiotic matters around us is forming an environment. So now in the context of business, what is business environment? Before we go to business environment, like in the general sense of environment also, we get so influenced by the environment, isn't it? As individuals, most of our, the way we live, the way things happen around us, it greatly influences us, isn't it? So according to the season we wear clothes, according to the season we eat our food, according to the mentality of the people around us, our mentality gets a shape, isn't it? Now in this pandemic situation, suppose this is 2021 and since 2020 we are facing the pandemic situation. Because of the pandemic situation in the country or in the world, in fact, many things have changed around us, isn't it? So we have to wear masks, we started wearing masks, we started maintaining the physical distance, and we use hand sanitizers. So now it has become a most common element, whether it is mask or sanitizer or whatever the antiviral, antibacterial, all those healthcare things, whatever we are using. So it has become part and parcel of life. It was not so 2 years before, isn't it? That means a change in an environment has made a great influence on us also. Even the business, even everything, each and every aspect of the economy and the society is been influenced by this, whatever happening, the COVID situation, isn't it? Anyway, we'll talk a lot about many more things. Now for this session, let's just see what is business environment. So here business environment connotes external and internal forces or factors and institutions surrounding the business. So as you all know, as individuals, we get surrounded by many things and we can't live without it, isn't it? Same way, a business cannot live in isolation. A business has to be, it's part and parcel of an environment. Like you have your own company organization, you have employees, you have consumers, you have competitors, you have, in a broader spectrum, you have society, you are operating in a particular culture, you have a government, you have policies, you have law in place, isn't it? So there are so many things which matters for a business and within which a business lives. So all those things, both internal and external forces within which the business operates, is called as the business environment. As I said, it includes the customers, competitors, suppliers, government, society, political, legal, technological, very importantly. So all these factors forms up and creates a business environment. So now among these factors, whatever I said, some could be within the organization. So when I talk about the management, when I talk about the employees, when I talk about the flow of work, when I talk about the factory layout, or to some extent the customers. So these are all the forces which I can directly influence and exercise a considerable amount of control. But there are a whole lot of factors which are mainly external to my business, like the government, like the law, technology, which keeps changing, isn't it? And I have very less control over it, and I have to make changes according to the change that happens. For example, government has brought GST in place. So as a business house, I have to apply it. I have to adopt my system according to GST. Now, if government brings up lockdown, so I cannot say, no, I will open my shop, I want to do my business, I want to sell. No, I cannot, isn't it? Because I have to be abided by whatever the lockdown parameters which government has suggested. That means I have very less control over the external factors that happens or external environment which is there. But only thing is I have to make changes according to whatever the external environment demands. So it can also be defined as set of external force factors such as economic factors, social factors, political and legal factors, and whole lot of demographic factors, technical factors which are uncontrollable in nature and affect the business decision of the firm. That's about business environment. So what is the characteristic of this business environment? So what is the nature or the features of it? The first and foremost thing is complexity. Means it is complex, it's not simple, isn't it? If you are running an organization, if you are having your business, it's not simple because you are surrounded by so many things. You have to be abided by so many things, like you have to be abided by government, the rules, regulation, the place where you are, the locality, what is the mentality or attitude of the society in that part of the society, then what, who are the laborers, who are your employees, and how skilled, unskilled they are, and what are the changes that's going to happen, what about your competitors' strategies, what are the new products and services that are there in the market which is giving you direct or indirect competition. So that means if you are running a business, that means it's never simple because you have to take care of n number of factors in your day-to-day affairs. So it is complex. Then dynamism. Okay, dynamism means it's not static, means it keeps changing. So every situation in your business environment keeps changing. So I was talking about the government rules, GST coming into picture. There may be, there was a demonetization, there is a lockdown, or there is a government rule about the timing. You have to work only from morning 6 to 10 or morning 6 to 12. So likewise, many things which may happen. Again, your product may become obsolete. Suppose if you talk about music, so we had cassette players, tape recorders. Now you don't see tape recorder anywhere, isn't it? So we had CD, there's no CD, we have something called as, then Blu-ray disc came. Then now we all go to online music, isn't it? We don't buy CDs or things, we just listen to the music online, isn't it? So that means, I'm just giving you an example that business is never static, it keeps changing. The mode of your business, the products and services that you have to deal with. So today we have n number of services, whether it is online food delivery or anything, everything is available online in fact, isn't it? It was not so in case of say 10 years before, it was not in place. Same way, so many things when we see in present, it wasn't there 10 years before. So if you are a businessman, so you should already be prepared that your business, whatever you are having today, will not be the same down the lane 10 years. definitely there will be a huge change in the business scenario. Okay, that means it is dynamic. Your business environment keeps changing. Then multifaceted. That means you have so many aspects you have to look into. As I told, you have to look into how the economy is running. What is the level of GDP that is there at present? So you have to see what is the employment rate. You have to see what is the unemployment rate, what is the birth rate, what is the age of the average age of the economy. Then you have to see so many aspects like what are the government policies, what is the taxation policy, both direct and indirect taxes, and what is the mentality of the consumers, what are the products and services that they would look into. You have to look into the legal aspect of the business, you have to look into accounting and finance. There is whole lot of HR rules and regulations and management that you have to look for. That means it is multifaceted. So a business organization surrounded by so many things, a business environment has so many aspects in the context. Then far reaching impact. That means whatever the changes that happens in the business environment, maybe the change is in present, but the impact of it will have for a long period of time. I was talking about masks and sanitizers. It was not so popular. Say even before 2020, we never used to wear mask. Masks were used only by the medical staff during the surgical process or so. So that means now mask has become part and parcel of life. We cannot step out without a mask, isn't it? So maybe from now onwards, mask becomes as part of our attire. Okay, it's like you're getting dressed means mask is part of your regular dressing. So it may, and again sanitizer, we keep sanitizer in the handbag every time, or every, like it's like it has become one of the mandatory thing. So all the detergent soap manufacturing companies, now they have shifted or they have added the product line of hand washes, and all those they have also added many variants of all these health and hygiene care products. That means the impact whatever happens in the environment, it is far reaching, like it's a long term impact. Whenever the taxation policy or suppose demonetization that happened, so it has a long term impact, isn't it, on every business. So the business environment is never simple, it is complex, it is never static, it is always dynamic, it has a lot of other aspects, so it is multifaceted, and the changes in the environment has a far reaching impact. Then components. So what are the components or the elements that is there in the business environment? So there are so many elements in fact, but we can broadly divide them into two components. One is the external environment, the other one is the internal environment. So external, the name itself indicates, it is outside the control of the organization, or it is there in the outside the business, like all those societal, cultural, government, political, technological. So all these environment, entire economy as a whole. So all these are external, part of your external environment. And the most important thing is you have very less control on it. Like you cannot influence the government to change the policies, or you cannot influence the people who are in your locality to change their culture, or like you cannot have a greater influence on them, isn't it? So it is sort of uncontrollable, or you can have very less control over this particular segment of environment. Then we have internal environment. This is within the organization, inside the organization, or which is in the direct first circle of the organization. So you can have considerable amount of control on it. Again, you cannot have 100% control on it also. Maybe some of the factors you can have more control, but still you have something called as your customers, your employees, the management, the organization structure, your competitors. So these are all your internal environment, your internal policies. So all these are your internal environment. Basically, internal environment provides a strength and it could have a weakness. External environment has opportunities and threats for the business. Anyway, we have one entire session for all these strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. We something called as SWOT. We'll discuss about it in the coming sessions. Okay. So components can be broadly divided into external and internal. So then come to environment appraisal. So we got to know what is the general meaning of environment, what is the meaning of business environment, and then what is this appraisal. So you know that you are surrounded by both external and internal environment. So now the question is, how do I cope with it? To cope with it, I need to appraise it. I need to scan my environment, what's happening around me, what's happening within my organization, isn't it? So I have to identify what are the opportunities and threats which are affecting the business, and so that I can have I can make a strategic decision. Okay. So here the appraisal basically is the process of identifying the opportunities and threats to make the strategic decision. So I was talking about, again I'll get back to the same example of say hand washes. So in the beginning, I think Dettol came up with the hand wash, isn't it? So it was actually having a soap segment, Dettol soap. Before that, even it was just like Dettol liquid. Okay, it was used for maybe cleaning the wounds or some medical purposes. Then came up with the soap. Then in this, hand wash came again much before this pandemic situation. But I think that was the pioneer of hand washes. Dettol hand wash came. Now today if you see, almost all soap manufacturing companies, whether it is Santur, whether it is Lifebuoy, or so almost of the soap manufacturing companies have come up with their own hand washes. Why hand washes? Because that's the order of the day. Like we have to keep washing our hands to maintain the hygiene, isn't it? So same way most of the branded clothes, so called what we call, so they all have come up with their own mask segment. So again nowadays in the fashion world, the masks which is matching with the same design or pattern or fabric, you have a matching mask also. That means you have to scan the environment, what's happening, so that you can take a business decision, means which is a strategic decision to cope with the changes in the environment. So that identifying of the opportunities and threats in the environment is called as the environment appraisal. So why we have to do this environment appraisal? What are the goals? First and foremost, to understand what's happening, what are the changes that's happening in the environment. Second is to provide inputs for strategic decision making. Like once I know what's happening around, then I can formulate my own strategy, then I can take a decision. Then third one should facilitate foster strategic thinking. So again, one more example for the current scenario if I give. So most of these branded shops have started with their own online delivery. Okay. Again, there are many more new online delivery of groceries, vegetables and food has come up. Again now online delivery of medicines have come up. Again online consultation of doctors have come up. Like most of the part of the life has become online, isn't it? Classes have become online. So that means there is more dependency on the internet enabled services, which was not so before, isn't it? So that means all these companies who are operating, all these business, they're seeing what are the changes that's happening in the business, and then they take that as an input for decision making. Then they formulate their strategies, they change their plans according to it, and they take good decisions according to the change scenario. So this is the goal of environment appraisal. So now if we just have to recap what we discussed in this session. We just discussed about what is the meaning of environment, which is nothing but everything that is surrounding us makes our environment, both living and non-living. When it comes to business environment, what are the surroundings within which the business operates makes the business environment. Of course, this includes customers, employees, government, political, social, technological, everything, demography, everything is part of the business environment. And business environment is complex, it is dynamic, it is multifaceted, and it has far-reaching impact. Then we have to do constant business appraisal. We have to continuously look into the changes that's happening in the environment and then take strategic decisions according to the change scenario so that we can be there in the business. Otherwise, we get obsolete and we have to move out of the market if we are not changing according to the changed environment. So then it is a process. Environment appraisal is a process of identifying the opportunities and threats that are affecting in the business for taking strategic decisions. So hope you have understood whatever the concepts we have discussed. These are the references which you can go through for having further more materials, and I have taken the material, some of the inputs from these references. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll meet in the next session. Thank you.